Just going. The first thing we're doing is a squat, and I will then show you a modification, but then you just keep doing which one is appropriate for you. So basic squat. Here. So for about 50 seconds, we're going to do squat. I'm starting my timer. All right. We're doing squats with Allison for 50 seconds. Basic body weight squat. Keep your knees out, back to the top, squeeze out, keep your chest up, 50 seconds. Pushing outward with your feet a little bit. At the top, squeeze your glutes. So try to do them not super quick because we're not trying to get our heart rate up, just nice and controlled. Keep breathing. Push out, squeeze, squeeze. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you always put your hands over your head. And if you need a modification, you always can use a chair. So you can switch around. I have my bench here. You always can sit and stand. Sit and stand. Good. 3, 2, 1. We're going to go down to the mat. Hopefully everyone can see me. We're doing a forearm plank. Elbows are lined up underneath your shoulders. Your core is engaged, which means your quads, your glutes, and your upper back are pushing you away from the floor. And you're going to hold for 50 seconds. Modification if you need to. Drop to your knees. Or just hold on. So continue to breathe. Good. We're going to pull out of that. Go into the third exercises. We have dynamic glute bridges. So you're going to continue on your mat. You're going to lie backwards. Feet are about hip width apart. And you're going to press with your feet, shoulders down. Continue to breathe. And you're going to squeeze in the dynamic. So we're going up and down. Press to the top. Keep those knees outward. The modification here, if you need to lighten it, is when you get to the top, lower and take a break. Keep squeezing. Push through your heels. Good, and relax. So next up, we're going to do something called a dead bug. So make sure you press your lower back into the mat because we don't want to have an arch back and compromise our spine. It's alternating arms and legs. So it looks like this. Make sure that lower back is engaged. It's opposite leg and opposite arm. Good, that's about 50 seconds. Next up, we're going to do another glute bridge. This time we're doing a single leg stance or single leg glute bridge, and we're going to hold it for about 20 seconds, and then we'll switch. So with this, you might have to line up your leg a little bit more towards the center of your body. Same thing as the glute, lift this one leg. This leg is not passive, it's active. So you're going to push with this heel to the top. This knee, you kind of push upward towards the ceiling. We're going to hold for 20 seconds. That's about 20. Now switch. The push leg, make sure you're pushing through your heel. Lift. The upper knee is not passive, it's active, so push. And you're going to hold 20 seconds. Good. Last one is Cobra. We're going to work our back. So you're going to flip around on your mat. Legs are fixed. If you need them to be, arms, palms are away, and you're going to lift your upper back. We'll hold this about 50 seconds. If you need to, you can relax and then regain that Cobra position. Three, two, one, relax. We're going to go back and do the whole thing again, right, with the squats all the way through the Cobra. So we're up top, hands on your hip, or in prisoner pose, and go. We'll do this about 50 seconds. Good, back to the forearm plank for our second round of planks. Core work, here we go. All right, shoulders above those elbows. Use your quads and your glutes. And you're going to push yourself away from the floor. Or think about lifting yourself to the ceiling. That's about 50 seconds. We're going to flip around. We're going to go back to those dynamic glute bridges. Heels on the floor. We're going to squeeze our glutes. Push ourselves to the ceilings. Arms at our side, relaxed. Keep breathing. And here we go, glute bridges. Make sure that knees are outward. They're not falling in. You can also think about your quadriceps, the upper legs, the upper part of your leg here. When you lift to the top, they kind of shift and go towards your toes. Good, next up we're back to the dead bug. So engage that core, make sure your lower back is supported with the mat, and alternating leg and arm drop. Good. Now we're back to the single leg glute bridge. So decide on which foot you want to work with. That's your push foot. Arms relaxed at your side. Push, use those glutes. This is active, so lift that knee upward, almost like a knee drive. About 10 more seconds on this side. Good, and switch. Plant that foot, push with your heel, drive with the opposite knee. Good. The last one, we have our Cobra, so we'll work our upper back. So really think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. We're on the floor. Legs are fixed to the floor, shoulders relaxed, and then lift and squeeze. Go 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. So that was our core workout. I'm gonna come over here and stop the recording. Ironically enough, tends to get really tight on people when they've been sitting a lot. So we're gonna place this ball just above the hip bone, and we're gonna lay on it. Okay. So get back to the mat. Let me take this down a little. There we go. All right, so we're lying on this ball. We're going to put it just above our hip here, and we're going to lie. I'm going to go to the side so you can see my leg. We're going to lay on it. And then we'll do this for about, I'll count to 30. And we're going to just get in there. And you should feel a release. And every time you feel a release, you should keep continuing to breathe. And another progression is if you can lift that leg and squeeze that glute, it'll open it up a little bit more. Good, switch sides. So again, later, you can go back and go through the same muscle groups we went over today. You can lay up there to about 3 minutes. Good. So we just worked the psoas. These tend to get really tight. The next one we're going to do is we're going to work our piriformis. So it's right in the area, kind of the soft area between your sacrum and almost where your hip joint is. We're going to go right up in here with that tennis ball. You're going to find that soft spot. And you can stay there. You don't have to lift your leg up. That's more of a progression. But just get in there for about 30 seconds. We're just going to mash that soft area. And if you want, you can lift that leg up. You also can be doing this with a foam roller. I just decided on a tennis ball. And these are great options to do at the end of the day when you have your favorite TV show on and there's commercials. You can just kind of get in there and just mash it all up, loosen it up. All right, and we'll switch sides. Go to the other side, and you might notice that one side is a little more tight than the other side. All right, so we're going to end that. We are now going to gravitate to the foam roller. So if you don't have a foam roller at home, you always can use a firm pillow. It won't aggravate your ribs. So we're going to use our lats. So our lats tend to get really tight, and we kind of compromise. Instead of reaching really tall, we kind of have a bent arm and we reach that way. So we're going to loosen up our lats, the big muscles in the back. But we're going to use the foam roller. We're going to go onto our side. So with this, you can kind of roll it up. We're going to do more of a trigger point. We're not going to roll a lot. You're going to find that lat just above the armpit, and you're just going to lie. Make sure you relax your neck. If you want, you can just move back and forth a little bit. Go up and down. And you should feel release kind of in your armpit area. You can come back lower. But you do want to remember that you have ribs there. You don't want to break them. So just nice and gentle. More pressure doesn't mean you're going to get more knots out. Good. And then switch sides. So a lot of what I'm showing you today is more of just a demonstration, because you can spend a whole hour doing foam roller and trigger point with a tennis ball, foam roller. Eventually I will show you how to use rope. We'll use those in a few sessions after that to active isolated stretching. Good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work our lats again, because they're big muscles. We're going to do a rollout. We're good on time. So with this, you're going to be able to sit back in your heels. And I'm going to show you this way. We're going to roll out. And as we roll out, we're going to open up our shoulders and reach away and then roll back in. So start with your hands inward. We'll do about 12 passes. Drop your chest and then come back to the top. Tailbone is back and down. And each time you should feel like you're getting a little bit deeper. Two more. What do we have next? Ooh, upper back is next. One more of these. Good. So we're going to do our upper back next. We'll use a foam roller or a pillow if you have that. We're going to get into our glute bridge. We're going to work our upper back up through here. So the foam roller will be right about here when we're working it. You're going to take your hands, you can squeeze a little bit to get yourself upward. You're going to give yourself a hug, and then you're going to just roll on that upper back, back and forth. You might hear a little bit of popping, a little cracking. It's just your vertebrae releasing. And if you find a spot that's tight, you can then rock back and forth on the foam roller. Sitting. Next up, we're going to do something called angels on the foam roller. You can do this with a firm pillow as well. You don't need to have a foam roller. Mine happens to be a little bit shorter, but we're going to put it right up against the back of our spine here on the floor, and we're going to open up our chest. And this tends to get really, really tight when you've been sitting or driving, so we're going to really open that up. So you're going to line your upper back on your foam roller. Your legs can be propping up a little bit, and you're just going to let your arms drop outward. And then we're going to progress, and we're going to lift our arms up, try to keep them close to the floor. And we're going to do basically snow angels on the foam roller. Let your shoulders relax, let them fall to the floor. Let gravity work for you, not against you. Two more passes. All right, roll up. Make sure you use those abs to roll up. We have, what do we have? Standing cross leg. Oh, we're going to do an arm reach. So now we just did a little bit of stuff with equipment. We're now going to stand up. I'll get myself back in the screen. We're going to do a couple side bends. Really open up our side here. So have your feet about hip width apart. You're going to reach up, drop one hand, keep your hips level, and you're just going to reach and bend. Hold that for about 20 seconds. Make sure your hips don't swivel too much. Keep them aligned. Good, and switch. Keep those pelvis in line. Chest up. Good, and back to center. Something just popped up on my screen. Hopefully that didn't get recorded. All right, thank you so much for coming. Again, my name is Allison. We did about 15 minutes of core today, and then we did about 10 minutes of restoration. With the restoration, you do not have to do it at the end of the day. It's a great way to warm up your muscles and make them pliable to do your workout. So there's no perfect timing for the recovery. You should always be in that mode. So this was week 1.